It doesn't matter what we get. What matters are the changes that gets triggered because of whatever we get. Got a degree? Doesn't matter until and unless it changes your fortune, employability, and maybe even your behavior. Got money and a sports car? Doesn't matter until and unless it changes the perception of society about you, positive or negative, but it changes something. Same is true for pretty much whatever we are getting in our lives. It's not what we get, it's the changes that happens because of whatever we get. Unfortunately, in our lives, we are more worried about what we should be getting instead of worrying about what are the changes we want to have in our lives. Something similar also happens in the world of product management and product development. And in product management and product development terms, these things are often categorized as outputs and outcomes. You must have heard about people talking about worrying about outcomes, not the output. But what's the difference between these two? To better understand the difference between outputs and outcome, let me give you a very simple example. Let's assume that you are hungry and you have two options in front of you. Prepare the food yourself and you will get home cooked, freshly cooked meal, or order the junk food. Now, the output, irrespective of your choice, will be same. Your hunger will be satisfied, but the outcome will be different. Your home cooked, freshly cooked meal will go easy on your stomach and it's healthy too, which is complete contrast with the junk food. And if you are keep on selecting junk food for a longer duration, the outcomes will be visible in your health too. Hence, it is advised that you should worry more about the outcomes, not the outputs. But now, this is not a rocket science. All of you know this, right? All of us know that eating junk food, what is the impact gonna be as compared to eating home cooked, freshly cooked meal. But why people still go for junk food? Let me give you three reasons: easy, relatively cheaper, and less effort. If you want to prepare your home cooked meal, you need to source the raw materials, you need to do the preparation, and it will take long time to get your meal prepared. But the junk food comes immediately, almost immediately, and it's available all over the places and it's relatively cheap also. Now, I'm not going to go into individual health domain, that's individual's choice, but let me bring this into product management and product development domain. In today's world, in our product development world, we are unfortunately mainly focused on outputs, not on outcomes. Forgive me for saying this, but I have been part of many teams and worked with many teams where team members are not even knowing whatever they are doing, why they are doing this. In fact, nobody was worried about it. People were just focused on the output. And if you are keep on focusing on the outputs, you'll end up selecting junk items in your product development, just like junk foods. Why this is so? Because we love data, we love matrices, and any product development matrices which says that something is cheaper, easy to implement, less effort, less cost, go ahead and do it. I know data doesn't lie. I have heard that a million times, but we must also know that data can be manipulated. Same data can be used to project two totally different outcomes. And more often than not, we are inclined towards the outcome which we like. Think about it, saying something like, my product development is easy, cheap, less time consuming. How good that sounds. It's very difficult to argue on that. Now, disclaimer, I am not saying that things which can be done easily, in a cheaper way, in a less time consuming way, are bad. No, absolutely not. But to understand whether these choices are appropriate for your long term outcomes, You need to go beyond matrices and see whether these things are leading you towards desired outcomes. Now, many of you might be thinking about a concrete example. Let me help you here. Let me give you one concrete example. Assume a team comes to you and says that they need to add more logs in the system because if some problem happens, it will be easy to debug, and that's why we should add logs in pretty much all the places and add more logs. Think about this for a moment. You may pause this video over here and think about it. Accepting this proposal is a junk choice or an optimal choice. Not sure what you might have come up with, but this is a purely junk choice. Adding logs, easy. Time consuming, no. Lesser cost, yes. It fits into all the easy criteria. But think about it. What are the changes that's gonna happen when you add new logs? You are just assuming that if some problem comes at some later point of time in the future, the logs may be able to help us. Of course, it may help you, but there is no limit to adding logs, and you cannot add logs after each and every line. It's gonna blow up your system. There is a limit to it. So, what's the better choice? What's the healthy choice? You may add logs, nobody is stopping you from doing that. The healthier choice will be to write more and more test cases, make sure that we have enough simulations available to test our software so that we can find most of the bugs that may happen when we ship the code, ship the product. Is it time consuming? Yes. Hard. Harder than writing logs? Yes. Creating simulators is a tough thing to do. And it is going to be costly. Yes, it is going to cost more. But this choice will take you to your ultimate outcome, which is, relatively bug-free product or software, which can change the perception of users about your software. Not the logs. Logs will not prevent bugs from happening. So these kind of choices we do pretty much on a daily basis in our product development, and we must consider outcomes, something which changes, something which triggers a change in anything. That is what we should look into while developing our product, while building our system. I do hope and believe that I was able to convince you to think more about outcomes than the outputs. With this, thank you all. Thanks for watching. See you again.